wait, so you were telling me about how the librarian told your mom that like you were gonna be someone someday? Wait, what?
Yeah. So in kindergarten, the librarian told my mom that she could see me because like how much I talk, the way I talk, how like I guess passionate I was about things that I would talk about.
What? Like crayons?
Yeah, she said that I would in the future be like speaking on stages. Like she told my mom that word for word.
Wait, that's crazy. And then what did your mom say? Was she like, no? Or was she like, yeah,
No,
I see it?
so yeah, she saw it too because my mom's honestly been number one hype woman, and then her and Neha now share that title together. But yeah, my mom has always seen kind of like the next step, and I think most moms do in that
Mm,
regard. The problem is like I never would listen or like believe it. Maybe
mm.
for some like self-limiting
Where do you think
beliefs.
that came from? Because I feel like if you were so like outgoing and like passionate as a kid, like what kind of things like wore down on your confidence? Like just being a teen and normal teen stuff, or
I mean, looking back at it, I think part of it was I realized that I thought that I was being myself, but looking back, I was definitely always trying to
mm,
fit in, like always. And part of that I think is also because I went to, especially in high school, middle school and high school, I was like one of the darkest kids in the school.
mm.
Like there's just a lot of white people. Which is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But I think I just kind of knew that I was different. There was also this thing where we were using a family member's address so I could go to a school in a different school zone.
Oh wow,
So I
yeah.
was like a legit outsider. Kind of
You're like,
like
I actually don't live here.
so and like I was like 12 years old having to like navigate all this stuff and like it's crazy. Like in middle school, the vice president somehow found out on MySpace that I didn't actually live in like the area. Like I lived in a different county. And then she like
Did
came
you
up to
put, what do you mean on MySpace? Did you put in your MySpace where you lived?
I put Jacksonville, Florida on my MySpace, but the
Uh-huh.
school was in Ponte Vedra, Florida. And so I guess she had like found out and then
That's so weird that she was looking at students' MySpaces though.
yeah, the whole thing threw me for a loop because I was like, literally, she came up to me during lunch. I forget what she said, but it was,
Shit.
yeah. And then like my parents got a letter and a call, and then like my dad basically had to like rent an apartment in that
Oh my
county
gosh.
for us to have a legitimate address. So it was wild, and this was just for like a public school. Like this wasn't, yeah.
Wait, I have a question. One, were your parents like, damn it, Avi, like were they mad at you?
I don't think they were mad. I think they were more upset at the fact that kind of that I think their minds are as parents are just like, yeah, why is this woman creeping around on MySpace?
Yeah, like
Um,
that's kind of weird.
yeah.
Very weird. So then, okay, you mentioned, and I really resonate a lot with this, is like realizing that the you that you thought you were might actually not be authentic. It might be more of like a mask or a way that you present yourself. So like,
Mm.
how do you think you're like different now? Like, what is actually authentic Avi, and what was like Avi that was like just fronting and pretending to be something else?
Yeah, so I think what it is Avi back then wanted to be liked, he wanted to fit in.
Mm,
Um And I think that, and there was no awareness that I was even doing it. I think that's just kind of what I naturally
totally.
did. But the biggest thing for me, honestly, was therapy.
Mm,
That's where I just started to do self work, started to get a little bit more direction and focus in terms of like what I wanted to do. It's not like you just wake up one day and you're like, oh, like I'm a different person. Like I don't
I'm
have to
me
go
now.
around. Yeah, it's like you like, and that's the thing is, so it's funny is like before I started posting on social media, I would ask people that had bigger followings. I'm like, how do you do it? What's the secret? What is it? And they're like, be you, like be authentic, be genuine. And I was like, what the hell does that even mean? Like, what does that
Mm,
mean? But now that I've gone through it, it's true. I have been able to not only grow, but connect with so many people when I share like real stuff that either I
mm,
experience or that I see or that, ways that I think. And then that's what people want. And what the craziest part is most people are just not comfortable in their own skin, which is why they struggle to post. You have to get very honest with yourself and learn who you are, and then you can kind of share it. I saw that in my own career as a dentist too. Like early on, I'd say
mm.
stuff and then patients just wouldn't accept treatment and then go, I'm like, oh, like,
You're
well,
like, what's wrong with them?
yeah, I'm like, why don't they want to do this? And it's like, dude, and then I realized like, dude, you didn't even believe that they actually needed that. And like they knew it. And then it
Yeah, yeah.
totally changed whenever I
Right.
actually believed in it. And then they would do it. Granted, there's like certain things you should say, but for the
Yeah.
most part, it's conviction. That's it.
Yeah, 100%. While we're on the whole, like, communication aspect of everything, I'm curious, like, we can get into the meat of the episode now. Like, what's your first person that you never got to say these words to?
Yeah. So when you sent me that questionnaire on just kind of like trying to figure it out, honestly, it was tough because it like challenged me to like think in a way that I don't think a lot of us think on a day to day basis, right? It's stuff that we're avoiding
Mhm.
essentially. So it's kind of like, all right, what did I avoid? But
Yeah.
the first one that jumped out was the first one that jumped out was a friend of mine. His name was Cal. We went to dental school together, and unfortunately, he passed away before we even graduated. And
Oh,
my
wow,
friendship,
during school.
yeah, it was like, yeah, it was going into D4, like the summer D3 going into D4. Um,
Oh, yeah.
and yeah, and it was pretty wild because it was a freak accident. Um, but your exact question was so applicable to this because our friendship had gotten to a place where there was a lot of unspoken things the first couple years in
Mm,
school, and then there was an evening where I actually cleared the air, and I actually kind of laid out how I felt about him. He laid out how he felt about me, and we can kind of unpack it more. But that conversation happened. It just took so long. I'm grateful that it did happen, especially considering how things kind of played out. But kind of
mm,
looking back, I my whole thing is like, say the things that are on your mind, because if you don't, it's not going to get better, and you will regret not saying it. Because what it did is it opened up. It's not that after we like cleared the air with each other where everything was like so great, but like the tension was gone because we both understood where the other person was at, where they were coming from,
mm.
and then there was mutual respect.
Can you paint us the picture of, like, what your friendship looked like? Like, so you guys both arrive at school. Did you guys, like, immediately hit it off, or was this, like, a slower burn?
Yeah. So the dynamic going into school. So I was pretty much the youngest person in my class. I was 21. I
Oh
did
my god, you
undergrad.
were that guy?
Yeah, I did
Every
undergrad.
class has, like, the baby.
Yep, I was the baby. I literally turned 21 like 6 months before dental school
Oh.
started. We were in Manhattan, so I was like 21 living in Manhattan. I felt unstoppable. But yeah, so I did dental school, or I did undergrad in 3 years. Got into dental school. He had applied multiple times, and so he was a little bit on the older end. Not that much older. So but like already coming in, we had different backgrounds, right? To me, it's like, yeah, you apply, you get
Mhm,
in, you go, no big deal. I've worked hard, but like I also got rewarded. He kind of had this other route where he would work really hard but didn't always get the result right away. And so that kind
mm,
of was built into both of our ethoses. And I think essentially going through dental school, like it's not that I wasn't trying hard. I think my whole philosophy was like, I'm gonna try as hard as I can, right up until the point where there's like diminishing returns. So, for example, for me to study 20 hours for an anatomy exam and then get a B versus me studying 10 hours and getting like a C plus or B minus, like I'm going to go that route because at the end of the day, like I just
mm.
wanted to get through dental school, understand the material, move forward. I didn't have any plans to specialize. And I was just like, there's like freaking 20 classes going on at once. Like, how the hell am I going to study and all that? Because at the same time, like, I would then take those 10 hours that I had and then go do other stuff with my life, like, explore the city, like,
You're like, "I'm not losing sleep over a B and a B minus."
yeah, exactly. And then he on the other end was the opposite, right? Like, put in
Mm,
40 hours to try to get that A. And then he would do well. But then sometimes he'd fall short. And then so that then rolled into clinic. Cause in my mind, I was like, didactic is like, I already knew. I talked to dentists and they're just like, dude, it's all about what you know
yeah,
clinically. Like the book stuff doesn't matter. So I'm like, cool. Why would I kill myself over this in the sense of like work so hard hourly to do something that's really not gonna like impact how I am as a clinician? Then you go into
right.
lab, and then like that's where he started to like, I'm not he's not a gunner because he was helping like our friend group, but he was kind of on the cusp
Right,
of
versus
that.
gunners would not help anyone.
Exactly. So he would help, and so, but he was kind of, I think what bothered me was the fact that he would try really hard but then try to play it off as though he's not trying really hard.
Mm,
And I think that's
I have a
where,
question.
yep.
Does that because that sounds like that's a trigger for you, like, what why do you think that's a trigger for you? Because I've once heard, and I'm curious, I've heard, like, the triggers in other people are things that bother you about yourself or adjacent. Like, what do you
Mm.
think that says about you that you didn't like the fact that he tried so hard but pretended like he didn't?
I think that that probably brought out, now that we're talking about it, the whole concept of like being like a chameleon, which is probably what I was doing, right? And like essentially appealing to the group to fit in even though you're actually different. And I think I was probably and I was doing that without knowing it. And then I think
Mm.
you double layer
Mhm.
it on with the whole like effort thing, right? Like I think also maybe him trying hard made me feel as though like, oh, I'm not trying as hard as I can. So let me like pull this guy down or judge or whatever. When in fact, like
So
we
it,
have
like, brought out an insecurity in you.
I think it did, yeah, 100%.
Can
So
I ask too, like, hearing about your friendship, you guys are very different people, it sounds like, but there was a reason why you call him your friend. Like, what do you think it was about him where you bonded well, or like, where did the relationship work? Did you guys have the same humor, or
I think you know what, in the beginning, very personable, both of us. Like he was also one of the first people that I had met who was actually like also interested in like my culture. Yeah, it was like the first person that would actually like talk to me about like the Indian culture who wasn't an Indian. You know what I
was
mean?
he
Like
white?
he was mixed. Like
Mm.
half white, half Arabic. Um
That's
but
kind of cool though. You were like, wow, someone actually wants to know about my culture.
yeah, and so that's how he was. Like he was a really personable person and he truly cared about the people that he was around. And so like he was a very very good person. And yeah,
Mm.
you ask anyone, then they'll say that. And so that's where it's like, you know, and I think that's what it was. Like, he was a really nice guy. He cared. And I think it was as simple as that. Like, there were other like common interests and stuff. But yeah,
Mm.
the kind of the whole thing that started to build was this concept of like not just leaning into who you were, like who he was as a person. And I think for me, that brought out that insecurity. Maybe I wasn't fully leaning into who I was because I didn't really even know who I was.
Mm.
Because now if he were still around, I think it would be totally different because I mean, you see everything that I'm doing now. Like if anyone who's looking at me, it's like I am trying really hard and I don't actually care if anyone is judging me for it because like my actions are the only thing that are going to impact, right, the outcomes that I experience in life. And so maybe that's kind of how he was kind of walking um to that mindset, but I
That's
think I was
really
just
cool.
yeah, I was just super
That's, like,
immature.
really cool that your trigger ends up being, like, something that now you're on the path of, and maybe that's why, in a sense, you did feel triggered, was because you were like, "Well, I can't show that I work really hard and have it not work out, because then I wouldn't be accepted." Versus now you've embraced it, and you're like, "Yeah, I try really hard, and sometimes it doesn't work out, but I don't care if I'm embraced or not for it."
And I think that's the key is I cared about what other people thought, and I cared, especially if I were to fail or come up short, and that is what prevented me from like going all out. But if anything that I've seen in the last 3 years of my life, 4 years I guess now, it's like if you just go all out on something, like you will
Mhm.
feel way more fulfilled, you'll be so much happier, and like whether you go all out or not, like things are not going to work, and like that's just how life is. But so at that if that's the outcome, why not just go for it? You know what I mean?
Wow, that's, like, really cool. I love that that's, like, the message that you took away from this. You had alluded to the fact that your relationship had started to crumble maybe around, like, the lab time. So, like, paint me the picture now of, like, what is, like, an incident that you remember where you guys might have had a tiff or, like, things that made the road a little rockier for you?
I'm trying to think of the experience because when I share it, I do think that people that are listening could probably relate to this because we've all seen it. Um,
Mhm.
I think
Oh
what
my
it
god.
was,
Also, dental school, can I just say, is such a it's such a bubble. Like, the smallest shit bothers you, I look back, I'm like, "This does not mean anything." But, like, people are so dramatic
so
at the time.
dramatic. You know what it was is I think he would do stuff where he would like have patients lined up or treatments lined up that he was going to like get like,
Mhm.
whatever the CE points for, but then he would play it off as though he didn't have them. and then would try to
Mm.
like
Oh, that's like a tale as old as time. That's like dental school survival. Like, it's so interesting that you mentioned that. Well, because like, what feelings did you have when you would find out? Like, oh, he had a crown lined up. Like, I didn't know.
yeah, yeah, I would be like, dude, so then why the hell did you say that you didn't? And like, why did you play it off like you did? Cause like, right? Cause it's just, that's what bothered me. And I think that's actually is just like a core thing of me of just like when someone is not being authentically them outside of Cal, like that, I've never liked being around those types of people. And then so I think the reason why it was triggering is because I think I knew that he was better than that because I had seen the other qualities of him as like a compassionate human, and then so the fact that he would
Mhm.
do some things like that, it's almost just like, dude, like you're better than this. Like you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Um,
And I have to preface this too by saying, like, obviously, you guys were not slandering someone who's no longer here. Like, this is a very normal behavior that happens in dental school. Like, it's part of, like, I imagine from his perspective, it must have been like when it feels like your back's against the wall in dental school, like all the time,
yeah.
in a way that I wish I could explain to other students. I never felt that way in pharmacy school because you become very resource hungry and it brings out a different side of you. So I imagine like all of this is coming from a place of feeling that scarcity mindset, which everyone heightens together. It's like, it's literally like a pressure cooker.
Well, and
But
this goes
keep
back.
going on.
No, this goes back to our origins, right? Like to me, I was the
Mm,
guy that was like, yo, it's all going to work out. It's going to be fine. Like you don't have to worry. Says the guy, easy for the guy who went to undergrad in 3 years and got into dental school his first try,
uh,
not for the
yep.
guy who applied multiple times and like had to go through the cycle and rejection. Like his, like for him it's do or it's like you got to go for it, you know what I mean? And like he didn't want to leave any
Right.
stone unturned, and so I respect that,
Yes.
and I think that's where it was just like, if you're gonna row that boat, like own it, don't try to act like you're not trying or that you're, you know what I mean, type of thing. I think that's where my head
Yeah.
was at back then. But yeah, it's like you said, the perspective.
I think we all come into dental school, like to your point, like our origin stories, we all have a chip on our shoulder. It just kind of depends like what the chip is. Like hearing your story, it reminds me of how in dental school I like would intentionally like hold myself back from going out to social events. I would stay in. I like had a chip on my shoulder thinking like, oh, I can't be like the other people that go and have fun and enjoy dental school. Like I'm like this like trying to build my own little empire here, but like I'm not the kind of person that can both have fun and build the empire. And now I look
Mm.
back, I'm like, that was so stupid. I should have just gone out and hung out with everyone. But that was my chip on the shoulder. It sounds like your path to dentistry was like pretty seamless compared to Cal's. But everyone, like I said, has a chip on their shoulder. So, like, what do you think your chip on your shoulder was like in dental school?
I think my chip on my shoulder, it's a good question. So my transformation changed in undergrad. In undergrad, I had it in my mind at that point that I wanted to go to dental school. So that's when I flipped the switch. And that's also when Neha and I started dating. And so she is like, I mean, she's like top of the line, just always crushed school. I think she like, so she, that influence like kind of rubbed off on me. And I'm like, okay, like I need to like get
Mm.
my shit together.
Wait, how'd you guys
Partially,
meet?
so we knew each other since we were like 15. So my cousin is,
Oh.
she was one of her childhood best friends. And so like we met when I'd like go up to visit my cousin, and then like we kind of hung out at like a mutual family friend's like wedding. Facebook friends, instant messenger friends, chatted all the time. And then her sister was roommates in New York City with one of my other cousins, because I have a lot of family in the Northeast, so and like Indians all kind
Mm.
of like mesh and whatnot. So then basically one summer going into NYU undergrad and my summer going into senior year of high school, we both stayed at their place, and then that's when we started dating, and so it was like this long distance relationship. Which, looking back, I mean, even her sisters were just like, "What are you doing dating this high school kid from Florida? Like, you're gonna be a freshman at
Aw.
NYU." She's like, "You're gonna be they're like, you're gonna be a freshman at NYU in Manhattan. Like, you need to realize like kind of the pools of people here." And then so they were trying to say it in like a nice way, but in their minds, I don't think
Mhm.
they thought it would last. Um, but it did.
Did you think it would last when you met her? Were you
Oh,
like,
I
"This
was
is my wife"?
delusional. Yeah. Oh, I was delusional because in my mind,
Aw.
I was like, this is gonna work. And here was my grand plan for our relationship. I was just like, you know what? I've got these three, like I had three more cousins that were like gonna get married soon. And I already knew she would be at those weddings. So I was like, it'll be awesome. Like we'll see each other like at those weddings. Like that was that was my plan and like good enough to like have her be my girlfriend. And then I kind of
Uh-huh.
like sold her on that, but then so she's a year older than me. And then so she then basically flipped the script on our relationship, and then she came down for my birthday, like surprised me for my 18th birthday. And then she came again for my senior prom. And then that's when it was like, oh, okay, like we will fly to see each other. And then so once I got into college that summer, we would basically like fly back and forth once a month to see each other and do these like secret trips because her parents didn't know we were dating.
Oh my gosh, wait, that's such a cute story. This is so funny for me to think about, like, because I actually had never known your origin stories of how long you guys have been together, but that's actually really
Yeah.
cool because that explains why your relationship is so strong. Okay, wait, just a small curious part of me. This is just Connie, your friend, that's curious. Like, were you like good with girls? Like, did you have girlfriends back in high school, or were you like, wow, a girl actually likes me when Neha liked you back?
So it's interesting. I didn't have girlfriends in high school, but I was friends with everybody, guys and girls. And I think
Mhm.
maybe this comes back to that this whole like not kind of fitting in part. Also, like my parents did not like my parents basically put it in my head like, you don't date any girls, like you just focus on like school and stuff like that. And I was kind of just like not about that. And I was just like, but I like girls.
Mm.
So it's like, why can't I like why can't I date them? But to answer your question, was like good with girls. I think so. A did not have like girlfriends, but I was good with them in the sense where it's like I wasn't some like dude who was like afraid to talk to girls. Um,
Okay, so you had like a confidence to you.
yeah, and then especially with like the brown girls, it was actually funny. Like I that was it's just so funny like getting into that stuff because like if I would go to like different weddings and stuff like that and like there'd be a bunch of like brown girls, like that was to me was like very easy. Um so it's kind of like this whole hat switching. And I don't know if you experience it. Most Indians I know do, people in just in different ethnic backgrounds. I think like you've got
Totally.
the split personality type of thing, right? And so yeah, I think Indian Avi just had like a lot more confidence because I think he was just more comfortable in his skin.
Indian Avi had Riz? Is that what you're saying? Like,
Well,
Indian Avi had game.
yeah, I mean, I think it was because the way Neha perceived me was as though I was this just like hotshot dude. And it's funny because I'm
That's
pretty
really
sure she thought I
funny.
was like, I mean, I thought I was cool, but I think she thought I was like super cool. And so when we talk about it now, we kind of like we joke about it, but she was just like, oh yeah, she's like, I thought you were like super cool. And so I think I had a lot of like phone and like aim game, if that's a thing.
That's so funny. I mean, to unpack a little bit of that, I did hear a study, and I do agree with this. I don't know how legit of a study it was, but I do think American born, like children of immigrants, we possess a certain duality, which you learn how to be flexible. You learn how to be like one way at home, one way at school. You learn how to fit in with everyone, even spaces where either you don't feel brown enough or you don't feel white enough. But because of that, like that can make us successful up to a certain point. Like we finesse the office, we're great with talking with patients. But then once you get to that point in life where you really have to start doing some soul searching and developing and making decisions and thinking like, who am I? This goes back to the identity thing. You're kind of like, I don't know, because I could be anything. I could be
Hmm.
anyone. This whole time I've been anyone. So it's like, oh, who am I really? And that's, I think, the plight and the challenge of being an American born child of immigrants.
Wow, that was beautiful. That's it. That's literally it. And I think that's we learn how to right to be these chameleons and we can fit in any situation. And I didn't even really understand that that was a thing until I got to dental school. Or actually, I kind of saw it in
Mm.
undergrad too, because the my brown friends that I had, like I could see like they were like nervous or like some of them were like not wanting to hang out with like white people, and I was just like, what the hell? Like, what are you
Mm.
afraid of? Like they're just
There's
people.
like a wall up kind of.
Yeah, and it's just like, yo, like they're not judging, like whatever fear of judgment, all this kind of stuff. I didn't know that was a thing because like I could talk to anybody. But then I saw it, and then I saw it again in dental school too. And then in dental school, you got like your cliques, right? Like the Russians hang with the Russians, the Koreans with the Koreans, and like the Browns are with the Browns,
Yeah.
and it's like all that stuff. And so I was just like, I was the guy just like friends with everybody, bouncing around.
Mhm.
But yeah, to your point, and I know so Dr. Sonia Chopra, the endodontist, I
Oh
was on
yeah.
her
Huh?
podcast. We talked about this because she also experienced the same thing of like the whole, the brown version of you and the non-brown version. So yeah.
And it, like, takes you so far because, like, these traits are what let us be, like, more bold, more flexible, more, like, whatever, and, like, great team members and whatever. But then it's, like, interesting because it catapults you, and then it also can stifle you once you get to the tip of, like, where there's only so much that this trait can help you with. And I feel like a lot of us, especially my listeners, where, like, maybe they just graduated from these high achieving degrees, they're starting their new careers, they're kind of like, okay, I've ridden this trait as long as I can, but then now it's holding me back because like, do I like? It's just hard to make those like big identity choices after.
Well, I think
Um,
what it is the people pleaser aspect. You're riding a rocket of being a
yes.
people pleaser because you're so good at it, and then that's what ends up stifling your growth.
Yes, you always know who to please. It's easier to know who to please earlier on. First, it's mom and dad, then it's the teachers,
Mhm.
then it's the professors, then it's your boss. And then, like, you're in the middle of space and you're like, all right, like, who do I please next? And you're like, wait, there's no one? Me? What do I want then? It's like hard. And then you're just floating in space.
That's it. That is the journey, because I think, and that's what I think I've experienced up to this point, to your point, right? There's always someone like above you or someone to, right, answer to, but then once you get out in the real world and like, sure, you'll have an owner, but like if you don't, you open your own practice or you start your own business, it's like it's you, and like
Right.
right, cuz like you over time you have less communication, less contact with like your parents and all these other authority figures. Some people will transfer that to their
100%.
spouse, but yeah, I think, and then that's where the key, the unlock is like get comfortable with yourself, learn about you, and that's where, the more you pour into yourself, then everything else kind of unlocks because you still have all those other
Mm.
skills that you acquired over the years. But wow, that was like a really nice way to kind of put that together.
All kind of works together. That's the coolest part about everyone's story is everything is like you can find a connection for everything. And so like just to bring it back to like Cal for a second. So like your story is a little interesting because you actually did say the words you wanted to say to him before he had tragically passed. We kind of talked about your relationship, how it became turbulent, and then you mentioned that you guys had made up. Now paint us the picture of like so he passes in your 3rd going into 4th year.
Mm.
Um, I kind of wanna know actually before he passed, what did the conversation look like with him? Where you said you laid it all on the line, you said how you felt. Like, what did that conversation look like? And
Uh,
who initiated it? You
it was
initiated it?
emotion. It was emotionally charged. I think it was
Were you
after
guys fighting
clinic.
over something? Like, how did it
I
start?
can't remember the exact thing that triggered it, but I think what it was, like I remember kind of how it went down. I'm pretty sure. So we had clinic, we had the evening clinic, and then we
Oh
went
my
out,
gosh.
we grabbed a couple of drinks, and then we went to my buddy's apartment. So it was the three of us. Us three were really close friends, and my buddy Ralph also felt very similar to, like, we both had similar feelings with what Cal was doing, and then so all three of us like talked together in his
Mm.
apartment. And so yeah, I mean, I think it kind of became a blur, but like it wasn't like necessarily a fight, but we were all talking like very loud at each other,
Charged.
trying to trying to hear what the other person was saying, but also getting it was like everyone was just getting it out, you know what I mean?
Wait, I have a question. You might not remember the exact words or how it exactly started, but do you remember like going into the conversation were your intentions, I have to get this off of my chest, or were your intentions, I need to like you need to tell me I'm curious how you're feeling? Was it a place of curiosity or a place of I need to get this off my chest how I feel about you?
I think in my mind it was like more of like, why do you like, yeah, I think if I'm remembering correctly, I think it was more of like, why are you doing this? Like, why do you do these things?
Like I don't
Um,
understand.
yeah. And then it snowballed into like opening things up because yeah, I think that's what it was like.
Did
This was
his What
Go ahead.
exactly did he say? Like did it make sense?
I think in his first response, it was like very shallow, and it wasn't what I felt like was what really was on his mind. And then so I think that's where
So then you
like
pried.
I pried, talked loudly, and then he finally like, he finally let it out and shared, and that's where he basically was just like, dude, like for me, and that's the whole thing about the back against the wall concept, like all of his journey and like how he thing, and like he finally opened up and shared that like that's why he does what he does, and like he doesn't have a plan B, and like this is all that he has, and so he's not gonna apologize for like I forget the exact thing, but it was like, yeah, for like, doing the treatment and like kind of like lining all this stuff. I don't even remember how to like how this went down, but it was that. It came out to where he was like, this is why I do it. And I was like, okay, you know? And so that
Mm.
helped because then he finally in my mind like leaned into what he was about and what he wanted to do. And yeah, then the friendship after that, like we were still friends, but it was just like a different it was a different energy. Like we didn't like talk as much, but like there was no like negative feelings towards each other. I think it was more neutral.
I actually think that might be healthier than to talk all the time
So
and secretly be harboring negative feelings.
100 it felt like a weight was like lifted. Like he would do
Mm.
stuff and it would not bother me because it was
'Cause you know
neutral.
what he's
Because
about now.
that's it. That's it. And he would do, and you know what I mean? And so, because before he would do something, I'm like, oh, look, here he goes again. Like, he's doing it. It's like, oh, blah, blah. And
Mhm.
it's so much wasted energy. And I think that's like, yeah, it was way healthier. Again, this comes back to it's just like if something is on your mind and it's someone that you care about, like you should just say it because don't be afraid of what the relationship will be after the fact because the relationship after the fact will just be more honest. And honesty is better than whatever the hell it is right now.
You know what? This story reminds me of that quote. Have you heard of the quote, "To be known or to be seen is to be loved"?
No.
So the idea is that true love is kind of like, I mean, it's just seeing someone for who they are. It's not like getting them extravagant things or anything. It's noticing like, oh, he likes his eggs over easy. So I'm always going to make him that way because I already know that's how he likes things. In your case with the friendship, yeah, you guys weren't like all of a sudden, like quote unquote, what you see on TV as best friends. You weren't hanging out all the time, talking all the time, but you saw him for who he really was. And in a way, you could think of it as like maybe that's a different way of like loving someone is accepting them for just who they are, even if you don't agree with it.
I agree. Yeah, and I think I've seen versions also of a quote, right? Of like, your real friends are the ones that tell you the truth, regardless of how it's going to make you feel. Um,
Mm.
but that's like a mature thing. Like most people are immature and avoid the tough
Yeah.
conversation. They avoid the tough conversations. It's it's some debt. Sahil talks about it in his book, and it's like when you have the more hard conversations that you avoid,
Mm.
it's like a debt that you're gonna have to pay back. And so it's like you might as well just
Oh,
pay that
yes, I
back.
remember him talking about this.
Yeah, and it's so true because it's like you should like if you avoid it, it's only gonna get worse over time. It's not gonna like go anywhere. Um, but the sooner you have those tough conversations, and this goes applies to like even team members, like you have assistants, hygienists, front desk, whoever, even coworkers, and it's just like don't avoid the conversation just because like you're afraid how it's going to make them feel. Like try to frame it in a way that is real, honest, and as supportive as it can be, but like don't avoid it because it's only going to get worse.
I think that the really cool thing about this story and these series and all of this is that a lot of like what we go through like carries over into like our current. Like I'm kind of curious. So given your experience with Cal, we know what happens. You have this talk, you enjoy the rest of the school year together, and then he tragically very suddenly passes away. I think we all carry a little bit of that. Like he's still like around, in your memories and in the way that you carry yourself now. So like in this current season of life with Avi, you're running your clear aligner program. You've been now out of clinical dentistry for like a year, more than a year now? Like 2 years?
Coming up on in September, it'll be 2, which is wild.
2 years. Okay. Yeah, so, like, tell us a little bit about what the season now looks like, and then if you think anything of that, like, experience of saying, getting things off your chest, getting that clarity, if that's carried over at all to, like, where you are now.
Yeah, I think now part of it is way more comfortable in my skin. I'm still human, so like, I have the
What stuff
awareness
gets
of
under
it.
your skin? I'm curious, like, what comment would kinda like, everybody has something that still kinda jabs at them, like, what's the comment that kinda
Yeah.
kills you a little bit?
Um, the comment that kills me. I think it's weird, but like randomly I had like a troll come out of the woodworks like a month or 2 ago.
Like a
Just
random troll?
yeah, like anonymous account trying to
Hmm.
like basically like shit on everything I'm doing. And then first it like bothered me. And I think it's maybe
What were
because
they
like
saying?
they were trying to basically like say how they were basically saying like, oh, like like I looked up your story, like, it seems as though like you couldn't cut it in clinical dentistry, so you got out and now you made some videos and a couple of them like got a lot of views. So you feel like you can make that a career and, it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. And it's like, do you even know what you're talking about? Like none of the stuff you say is like, impactful or whatever. And so for whatever reason, that bothered me. And I think it's because I just haven't heard that in a long time, because there were people that kind of said that early on, but I pushed through that. So
How did you
that
push through that? That seems almost harder earlier on to face, or was it easier for you to face?
I think honestly I was in such like a freaking take over the world domination mindset where it hurt me when I first heard it back in the day, but when that was
Mhm.
happening were also people actively supporting me.
Mm,
It was a post. Like back in the day, it was one post. I knew what I was doing. I knew I was going to stir the pot, but I was like getting support. And then I kind of had some mentors and other people that had like gone through something like this before, and they were just like, tune them out. The more haters you have, it means you're actually standing for something, and like you are, you're nothing you said was wrong or any of that. And yeah, and it's crazy because like I'm sure from your perspective and other people, they're probably looking at me and the testimonies. It's like, and this is where Neha reminded me. She's just like, and this is why I'm also glad I have an album in my phone of anything
mm,
positive that somebody has said, and I just screenshot it and I keep it. I just call it like affirmations and compliments. And
mm,
I went through and it's like the number of people that I have helped with the same videos that this person, right, has said that like your stuff is like trash pretty much. Um, yeah, like it's just that, right? Sometimes like the negative voice can sound louder than all the other positive ones. So to get
mm.
myself back into the right mindset, I went through all those again. Um, but
That's
yeah,
nice.
that's just I guess like the human experience, right? Is it doesn't really matter how much you've done. I think there is always going to be kind of some degree of that because at the end of the day, I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help other people help people. Um,
Mhm.
and then so like I'm not this like super stoic guy that's like can just shut all emotions out, even though like it's an interesting practice.
Stoicism would solve so much, I feel like, in my life too, like, I totally get it. I think I mean, you also have to consider the life cycle of, like, your journey, and this happens for every creator, is in the beginning, you're gonna get haters, but it's kind of so exciting because like, that phase, you're still, like, kinda the new kid on the block, so people are still finding out about you, they're like, "Where have you been all my life? This is so exciting." You're on a rocket ship. But then,
Mhm.
you're in the middle right now, which I
Yep.
am also in the middle, which kinda sucks. But when you're in the middle, people already know who you are, they know what you're about, and sometimes you're even, like, your biggest supporters, like, they kind of just stop showing up because it's just, like, they've been showing up, so then, like, things happen, and then maybe you get less likes and comments and things like that, and then
Mhm.
that's when the doubt creeps in. So this person, this, like, recent troll, is hitting you at a point while you're actually down because on paper you have the following now. Of course, I'm sure you want more, you always want more, but now you have the following. But in the back of our minds, when we're creating, we always have those voices being like, "Oh, I'm not enough. People are forgetting about me, whatever." So this troll is actually kicking you while you're most down, in my opinion, how I see it.
Yeah. No, and that's what it was. And then when I got that message, nothing was really moving forward in the entire like on the platform in the sense, right? Like kind of like it
Mm,
was a slow period for enrollments. Some of the other bigger things that I'm working on with like groups and aligner brands, like nothing was really moving there. So yeah, like it
mm.
was a little pocket of time, right? That where it's just like, damn, like okay. Again though, by no
Did you
means does that mean
respond?
no, I think I deleted and blocked. And then they showed up
And that's how we
again
move
on an
on.
and then they showed up again on another post with a different account, then,
Wait,
um,
how do you know it's them?
same shit. It's like the same energy, like same type of because nobody
Uh,
comments on my stuff like that. Like, because I'm
yeah.
like nobody does. They either don't
This is
comment
the
or
mark
they
of, like, a hater.
yeah. So I'm just like, yo, what the hell? And I haven't even been posting like divisive stuff. Like I know when I'm in the season of like stirring up attention and like getting stuff brewing. I wasn't even doing that. So I was
Yeah.
just like, what? Like what yeah, I was just thrown off. But
Is the comment still there? Or did you delete
I
that
don't
too?
know. So I remember early on some creator I was following, like they were basically just like, yo, if you don't like what that person is saying, like there's two things. Like one, you can respond and say
Mm,
like, thank you so much. for sharing like your thoughts, cuz and it's like double win cuz it's like you kill them with kindness and engagement. And then another creator was like you can literally delete and block whoever the hell you want. Like it's your page, it's your platform. And I'm like, okay. So
Mm.
yeah, I think for me, because the thing is like, it's not even like this person was like trying to have a conversation or trying to like learn more. It was more like accusations and yeah, I don't know. I didn't like the way I
Is
guess it
that why
made
that bothered you so much? Did it seem like they were talking about you as if they knew you, and is that why that bothered you much? Is that you're like, "You don't even know me?"
maybe, maybe. Yeah, I think that's what it was. Because I think what they did is the way it looked like what they did is it sounded like they almost took like AI to do like a deep dive on me and the internet. And so it just like
Oh my god.
pulled
Yeah.
from like my different stories and podcasts that I've shared, which are only 45-minute conversations. And like, but besides this one, like most of them have kind of been like a common theme, which is a truncated
Mhm.
version of my journey. And so yeah, and so I think like they kind of presented it as though they knew me, and then made these different accusations. I was like, dude, I don't like you don't know me. And so that's the thing. Now looking back, it's like so silly because it's like, dude, if they don't know you, why the hell do you care? Like
Right?
that's
I
what I
mean,
would
like, that's
tell
kinda what
somebody.
I'm wondering. Like, a part of me, do you think there's any part of what they said that sometimes you do tell yourself when you're at your worst, or that you have previously thought?
I think in the very beginning, like in the very beginning when I was starting, because like when you go and you start educating colleagues about a procedure that no one was like taught in dental school. Like, I mean, there was imposter syndrome for me in the beginning because I was just like, do I even know what I'm doing? But
Mm,
then the amount of proof that has come out since then, not only with myself and the cases, but like the doctors that I've helped, like who have also shared how it's helped them. Right. Like that's the proof that has stacked to eventually remove the imposter syndrome. So yeah, I don't know. I think it was what you said though. I think it was because it was the timing of the comment and what my kind of environment was like.
mm,
Because if I got that comment, I mean, even if I get that comment like now, like I'm moving past it, like I really don't care.
mhm,
Because there's been a lot of like really fun, cool growth opportunities, which we can chat about. But yeah, I think it was like a plateau season, and
mhm.
plateau for creators and entrepreneurs feels like the world is over. Like this is it. Like unplug it.
Oh,
It's
it's, like,
done. Like
horrible.
from plateau, you failed. Like you are a failure. Like, that's what it feels like.
Isn't that so interesting though? Because in every other career, it's expected to plateau, and then that's the where you get better. In my own clinical career, I plateau, I get exponentially better. Plateau, like it's never a straight line. It's always like grow, 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 plateau, grow, 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 plateau. But for some reason, when it's like maybe
It's
our
because we're
online
delusional.
careers, yeah, yeah, it's probably because 'cause we're delusional. It's also social media is just such a fickle thing. It's, like, probably, like, very unhealthy how fickle it is. What were some of these, like, I guess this is a good way to end it. What is, like, an exciting thing that you're working on right now that you, like, just can't wait?
So there's a couple of things, but the biggest thing right now is so I post obviously a lot about clear liners.
Mhm,
And so yes, I can help doctors start doing cases, learning about it. But then what that's also done is that's also attracted people who are already doing it, who don't necessarily need like the clinical education. So they're never going to get into like any of our programs, which is fine. They're just kind of there for like the tips and the just like the information. But the biggest thing that
mhm,
comes up is a lot of docs just like don't know about a lot of aligner brands, right? It's like there's a couple big names that everyone knows, but even outside, like most general dentists cannot name more than maybe like two aligner companies, and there's like over
right.
85.
Oh, I did not know
And
that.
yeah, and a lot of people don't, and I've been learning about this for the last couple years just because I'm so embedded in the niche, and I was just like, okay, this is like a problem because it's it's such a information gap, and most
Mhm,
dentists, like, we're getting our information like, people are getting them from either friends, reps that come in, or, like, these Facebook groups. Like, that's it. Those are the 3 sources. So something that I'm working on right now is basically I'm and a lot of brands have approached me to try to do something. Most of them wanted exclusivity, and for me, I'm agnostic, and so I kind of took agnostic in the sense of like I'm not talking about anybody, like I'm helping. But now I'm like, oh,
mhm,
agnostic just means you just can't be with only one, right? It's like it's
mm,
open
mhm,
for all. So now I'm working on like brand sponsorships and partnerships such that they basically can get exposure to the dentists in my audience, and then I can help educate the dentists in my audience about their brand. So it's like if they've got different features, showcasing and helping them get that in front of their target audience. But then also like the dentists who are following me can just understand and learn. And it's more like, cool, like now that you know about these 10 brands, pick the one that, that serves you best. And also I'm trying
You
to
should do
work
like a
on getting,
quiz.
yeah, I actually, something that we're going to probably put together is like a resource that is essentially reviews all the brands. Um, and then I'm going to pull like real doctor testimonials, like not just KOLs for the companies, but like doctors
Mhm.
like that use the brand and like get their direct feedback, and then compile this into one easy digestible resource, and then just like give that out for free. My vision is like that becomes like the gold standard for dentists, where it's like, hey, I kind of want
Mm.
to learn about the top brands. I don't know, come up with like a ranking system and
That
stuff
is
like
really
that.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a way to like kind of rate things in the marketplace. That's
Hmm.
so cool. I
Yeah.
can't wait to see how that works out.
Yeah, that's one of the focuses. The other one, which is like it's very exciting and it hits home, is working with DSOs. And I know some people like hate
Mhm.
DSOs, but I mean, I worked in DSOs. Like, there's real associates that work in DSOs, and they don't get mentorship. And these DSOs have the money to offer it, but they don't have the people to run these mentorship programs. So now what we've been doing since last year is we'll work with a DSO and we will handle their aligner education and support. So um, for me, it kind of hits in the place of like one of the DSOs I worked at, like they didn't really offer that. And then when I wanted to like be the educator in the DSO, they like basically said no, like no one's gonna listen to you. And so my new chip on the shoulder is now it's like, well, I'm just gonna basically be the guy that all the DSOs learn from.
Oh my gosh, I love that. You're like, someday you will not be able to escape my name.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's I'm sure with all the stuff we're putting out that they already see it and whatnot. But yeah, and then we've expanded the team, so we're working with the team on the social media side, which I've never really done before because I've just kind of done it all myself. But
Mm.
I'm kind of at a point now where like I want the content to be good, but I also need to work on other aspects. So it's
Mhm.
cool.
Yay. Oh my gosh. Well, this is so fun. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for sharing like what's going on too. That's like exciting to kind of be a witness to all of this. Best of luck. It's going to be like so cool to watch this like new niche that you're going into. It's not new, but I think that's the really cool part is like we start something and then we see some success and we're like, "Oh, this is it forever." And then we plateau, but then that's when we actually break through and find an even niche, and then you're like, "Oh no, like this is it." It's just like part of the evolution, and like this makes so much sense for you. So congratulations on like pushing through and finding your niche of niche, because I think that's like where the success really is too. If you could just leave with everyone where they can find you, your usernames, all of that good stuff.
Yeah. Thanks. No, and just to clarify, like the full blown breakthrough like hasn't happened. A lot of this stuff, it's like it's right up to the finish line, but it does feel a lot more clear. And I think the message to everybody listening on
Hmm.
that is like everyone experiences it at different times and different intensities. The key is literally just sticking through, trusting and pushing. That's all you can do, right? Is control your inputs. But yeah, this was awesome. I haven't done, I don't think, a podcast like this ever. I'm really excited
Oh,
for this. Uh, yeah, I feel like we got to just talk about some really real stuff. But for people who want to follow, I on Instagram, Dr. Avi. Same thing on YouTube. And if you're a LinkedIn person, I'm on LinkedIn now too. Did I tell you I started posting on LinkedIn?
no, how's it going?
It's awesome. I'm crushing it there. Like I'm
Wait, really?
basically,
That's so
yeah,
funny.
I avoided LinkedIn like the plague, but since last year we're
LinkedIn is
starting.
probably so simple compared to like Instagram and stuff.
It is child's play. It is child's play. So like I'm saying this. So been on Instagram for years. I avoided LinkedIn like the plague. Never liked it. Dentists, like that's not where we hang. There's nothing there. It's so boring. So I thought I took this course. Justin Welsh. He's like an entrepreneur and he teaches you how to use LinkedIn. I'm like, all right, let's do this. And I saw similarities on like this whole concept of like be authentic, be yourself, share what's on your mind type of stuff. I started doing that on LinkedIn, and this where all like the DSO people are at. And I
Mm.
started posting in November. I went to a conference the next month, and like four people came up to me, and they were just like, "Oh, I see your stuff on LinkedIn," and I was like, "Okay, cool." And I'm actually going
You're
to
like,
like
"LinkedIn."
every conference that I went to for the DSO stuff, like there's always been people that have known me, and now I actually have like friends. So like they're like vendors or they work for other DSOs, and like I see them at conferences. I'm going to one next week. It's like a super big one in Colorado. It's like the Super Bowl, like kind of everybody in the industry goes crazy about it. I didn't even know it existed, but it's wild. I'm gonna like go and I'm gonna like know people and have like a pack. It's wild. So yeah, I'm excited about that. But LinkedIn, check me out. I post a lot of fun stuff in there.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. What a nugget. All right, I'll have to check out LinkedIn. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on and for being so vulnerable. You shared like a lot of really great stuff, and I'm excited to kind of show the world maybe like a different side of you or a side that you don't get to talk about a lot. I think most people in our industry don't get to talk about this kind of stuff. Which I really appreciate because that just shows how willing and vulnerable you were to share this kind of stuff.
Oh
So
yeah.
thank you so much for everyone for listening. And if you like what you heard, please leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.